What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you from a similar but different setup. Here's the thing. Yes, I have recently moved. That is part of the reason why last week we didn't have a new episode, but we're back. We don't take very much time off, if you really look at the public record here, people. So you can tell us, hey, where's the episodes? Where are you guys? Why aren't you doing this? And I can tell you that I occasionally will take 1 week off. Now, it just so happens that was a week that our good friend Tim Freeman also needed to take off. But Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Listen, if you are locked up in the Burbank ICE detention facility right now, Raf, I'm coming to get you. You just got to say the word, give me the signal, blink twice, and me and the 10th Planet boys are going to come bust you out, my man.
I will tell
on
you
the new digs there.
Thank you for that. I will let you know that by and large, I am pretty anti-ICE vulnerable just because of my voice. Like, if you listen to my voice, you might look at me and think like, I want to put him in because, Brown. Just literally ask me to speak a little bit of Spanish and I'm not going anywhere into detention. So
like, no, he's a whitey. Pass him.
Nope.
Through.
Damn, didn't get this one. I thought we had a shot here. Tim, I noticed we're twinning today. I didn't plan this. This is kind of odd.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you putting the support of this. I will be honest with you. When you are moving, you basically look around and see what clothes are available to you. And I have to tell you, the stuff that was in the immediate, hey, this is going to be available all time, is all Grappling Hour merch.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I have way too many jiu-jitsu t-shirts. Way too many. 5 drawers full. So every day it's like, pull one out. Oh, I'm wearing this one today. So today it was Grappling Hour, and it was perfect because I had the thought, like, I'm going to keep this one clean because we're doing the show later in the afternoon. I'm not going to get my egg yolk on it.
This is just, I don't need, you know what? If the Opus clip can hear me, clip the part where Tim is like, I'm going to keep this one clean so that when the next set of allegations come out, we can just go straight to that clip. Okay. We've been gone for a minute. I just have a few things we need to cover before we get to the board. There are obviously some topics up there. The number one topic has to be obvious to everybody in the jiu-jitsu community. And yes, we will get there. But let's start with this. While we were gone, Tim, there was somebody who put out a statement that was so terrible that it made me have to revisit it. Even though it feels like the community has moved on from this statement, I have not. This statement was so horrific, and it is a warning sign and a warning shot to anyone who ever uses ChatGPT to write a message, especially when there are important and very serious allegations that they are responding to here. So, Tim, what was your initial thought when you saw Duarte's clearly ChatGPT assisted note go up?
I'll read the first sentence. And this was like immediately I was like, oh, let me grab the popcorn because this is going to get good. To the press, partners, sponsors, sports organizations, and general public, Brazilian athlete Kaynan Duarte. So immediately he refers to himself as Kaynan Duarte, right? So he's speaking in the third person. He's going through this whole big deal. And it's like, first of all, there's a lot of word salad and there's a lot of like CYA language. And this is too many syllables, too many big words. I don't think he said this. And I had the thought, this is like a double interpretation here because it was probably given in Portuguese to ChatGPT, fixed up, and then translated to English, which look, AI is not that good yet, right? We can't go 2 degrees up in the world. Like once you start translating from one language to the next, it gets a little dicey, and then you give it to AI, and then you come out with this. This is like hiring Better Call Saul to draft a statement for you. It's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad.
Can I note some obvious things here? I say this as somebody who is addressing the rhetoric behind this and not of clearly the terrible things that it is referencing or in regard to. But the reason why we're even bringing it up is because when you do have something so abhorrent that's happening or allegedly happening, and you put out a statement for it, people are going to read this and think, do you really feel like this? Because when you put in bold that you express the greatest amount of gratitude to the accused person, a lot of us are thinking, why are we even doing this then? Because clearly you're doing it for reasons that you don't want to. So anybody who's drafting a statement in the future, if you're breaking from some sort of party or affiliation, you don't have to express gratitude. In fact, here's a hint, you can do that in private and say, hey, just so you know, I'm putting out a statement, but I express my deepest gratitude, but I have to politically go somewhere else. Because to the rest of us, it reads like, I really don't want to have to do this, but it's the best for me, so I'm doing it. So that's problem one. Number two, third person statements. Unless you've hired a PR agency, which you clearly didn't, and if you did, get your money back. Just in this particular instance, don't seem very well worded. Because when you start referring to yourself in the third person, why do we need to know that you are making an ethical, respectful, responsible, and transparent statement?
Wow. Yeah, transparency is real big in the Brazilian community in general. It's like, what are we talking about? So lame.
I'm so sorry. It's just so funny. So, okay, we do this, and then just phraseology. No accusations here, but whenever you say you started a new cycle, just, hey, listen, there's other accusations that people get put on cycle that those don't go well together either. Don't use it as a launching point to let us know what you're going to do next as well. Like, that's not what people are interested. They're like, well, what has he got going on next now that he's made this statement? Don't worry. He's beginning a new cycle and following different paths and will focus on new perspectives, new projects, and the strengthening of his professional trajectory. Okay. New game. If you use ChatGPT this heavily, I feel like there's a game show where we have to have you recite it from memory and see how close it got. Because there's almost zero athletes in the many years I have been doing this who have ever said the following two words together: professional trajectory. Ever. It's coming from a real deep place of doing this. And you wonder, why are we picking on this one? Well, because it was that bad. And I know that people went in on the comment sections, but they weren't necessarily saying why it's bad. So at the very least, we're trying to identify maybe these things are not the best. So good. He does not take any part in the organization's management. I'm reading it because it's in bold. Operational decisions or internal processes. Maintaining a position of institutional distance? Like,
what is it?
What?
That's what they do in jail when they tell you got to stand 10 feet apart. That's what institutional distance is.
Not even people who went to Catholic school had to take an institutional distance from a dance partner. Like, what are we talking about? Okay. Ethics, transparency, integrity. Well, we did see those a little bit above, so we don't need to rebold those. Okay, good. Accusations of this nature are serious and must be investigated responsibly by the competent authorities. Honestly, that's the most coherent thing we've got here. And you know what? A one paragrapher with that might have been even more like, hey, you know what? We can all agree to that. But it doesn't stop there. With a career marked by professionalism, discipline, and credibility. Built over years of dedication to high performance, again, phraseology, just make sure you don't say that with other things, like especially cycling. He reinforces that his focus remains entirely on the sport or his development as an athlete, blah, blah, blah. For 2026 competitive cycle, his strategic planning includes high-level international preparation and global competitions. Why do we need this as a moment to tell us that you're putting yourself in contention for ADCC when we are referencing a real thing that has been filed and that people are talking about? And you think it's a good time to let you guys know I'm in ADCC. Count this guy there. Great. I'm glad we know it's in Poland as well. This last part was rightfully mocked, and I'll just read it out loud if you haven't gotten there yet. This statement is institutional, preventative, and informative in nature, aimed at ensuring public clarity, image preservation, communication responsibility, and legal security.
Oh.
There's not even a best or a regards or a with love or cordially at the end. It's just Duarte, professional jiu-jitsu athlete. So here's what I would tell you guys. And it might seem like we're picking on him here. Probably it does come off that way. But I really do hope by making an example of this terrible statement, we don't see this in the future. And really, if you don't feel compelled to give us a reason why you're leaving the whole organization, that is your choice. There are a lot of people who are going to say, but they were good to me. Okay. We don't know what these accusations means. We don't know exactly what did really happen. But by and large, just if you're going to make a statement like this, just ask yourself, what is the purpose of it? And if the purpose is to tell us that you're doing ADCC at the exact same time, maybe separate those into two different posts. Because this, whatever word salad it jumbled out into, is trash. And I don't ever want to see it again. So,
you know, this reads as if like Dr. Evil wrote it. And it was, or, you know, like Mr. Han from Enter the Dragon wrote it and it was read. And it's like, this statement is institutional. He tells you the whole point of why he wrote the statement in the last paragraph. Unfortunately, I think that was the part that you're not supposed to say out loud.
No, that's the part that the Chat GPT tells you, hey, this is what we accomplish with this. Whatever you do, don't copy and paste this into the actual statement. Oh, you did? Oops.
Yeah. Congratulations.
You did put me on a different thought process here, though, Tim, because this does sound like a Dr. Evil note. You're right. It does sound really like James Bond has shown up. And it's like, hello, Mr. Bond. I see that you are being ethical, respectful, responsible, and transparent with your power. But I ask of you, have you thought about the following considerations? Especially with this 2026, the year of the ADCC, in which I will also be participating this year, and maybe you, Mr. Bond, will be there in Poland. I hear is a great place to be this world stage. Come. Hold on. Is it, what season is ADCC? Oh, yes, this fall. And I hope that you do not fall far from your own goals, Mr. Bond.
Nice job. That is the vibe I got, Raf, when I read it. I pictured number 2 handing it to Dr. Evil and Dr. Evil reading it and then just skirting off. You know
Oh,
what I
I
mean?
hope you don't keep your operational distance from me, Mr. Bond.
My high-level international preparation.
All right, let's move on. Anyway, I hope you guys were as entertained by this discussion as we were pretty angry that it exists. And listen, get mad at us all you want. We are doing a community service here by trying to just say, don't put out stuff like this. Those are the deep thoughts that people have. And I'm guaranteeing you, we're not even meaner than most of those comments I read, because most of those comments went in on this in a way that even I was like, yikes. So there be it. So let's go back to the board. We do have some things to discuss. And in case you didn't actually check out our main question of the week, we did ask people, how long do you think this Gordon Ryan retirement is going to last? For the 5th time in as many years, Gordon Ryan has announced his retirement. The real question, will this one stick? Tim, we'll start with your response to that question, but also get your general feelings about Gordon Ryan announcing his retirement.
I mean, general feelings, look, I got to look at it 2 ways. Is a competitor, Gordon Ryan is absolutely fantastic to watch. He's great at jiu-jitsu. By far, there's no way you can doubt his skill set on the match. Gordon Ryan really, really, for no-gi jiu-jitsu, really made a significant mark, man. Like, that's 100%. You can't deny that. Personally, you know, he's a very controversial figure. Some stuff he says I'm okay with. Some stuff he says I'm just like, bro, better left unsaid. And then some stuff he said I'm just like, dang, dude, you're crazy. But beyond that, you know, of course it's going to be a big deal. He's still a young guy, and this is the thing. He's had ongoing stomach issues. He cites those in his statement that he's going to retire. But curiously, like right before that, he was talking about potentially competing in ADCC in 2026. So who knows? I don't know. This could be a negotiation tactic. It could be many things. We just don't know with this guy. He still has a lot of gas in the tank. For sure, if his health is good, there's no reason why he can't compete. We know he got interested in MMA a little bit. I don't think he's going there. He might be feeling the stress of trying to actually manage and operate a team and a business at Kingsway there, which is a whole different animal, right? That's not the same thing as being great at jiu-jitsu. But outside of that, man, you know, I had a great time covering him, watching his kind of rise. I mean, Raf, you were there just as well, man. We remember when Gordon was a skinny kid. He was in the background. Gary and Eddie Cummings were kind of the big stars of that Danaher Death Squad until Gordon had the chance to step up and did fantastic at the EBI Absolutes, and then eventually went on to become the Gordon Ryan that we know. So, you know, great career, man. If he never comes back, then he had a freaking outstanding career. And I hope he finds peace and happiness in his life. I think that's probably be my big wish for Gordon Ryan.
For sure, that's not happening. If anything,
I love you, Raf. You're so nice, but there's a side of you also that's like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
What are you talking about? Like, this dude now has more time on his hands to bitch about everything that we can't even concentrate on congratulating him for an incredible career. Focus on me. Let me just put this out to you. I've known Gordon for a long time. He is an incredible jiu-jitsu talent. Now, there's an ellipsis there because of the obvious things. He posts so much on social media. And I say this because a lot of us post stuff on social media.
Sure.
But there's such a very angry, clearly not pleased with the way of the world sort of guy that's always bitching about something. So at least when he was competing in jiu-jitsu, he would have something to do. Now he's not. Have you seen a retired person? Do you know how much more time they have on their hands to then do what their hobbies are? Well, it doesn't seem like he's found another hobby, so his hobby is just shit posting. And that's the part that makes it very difficult to say, oh, I'm looking forward to him enjoying his well-earned time. If one thing we can say, and I feel this is a positive, in addition to his incredible grappling career, it's that he's building a really, really competent school. And there's a lot of really great performers that are learning from them. And I feel like that's going to be a continuation of his legacy. And that's going to be fun to watch. But like, don't you in the back of your mind think like, is this dude ever just going to be happy? Because you get the sense there's not going to be any jiu-jitsu event that's not going to have his presence felt. Like, he's going to chime in if somebody wins something and says, well, they didn't win it like I won it. Okay, cool. If somebody beats his record, well, I did it first and arguably better than everybody else. It's just kind of boring. So that's the part that we're sitting here and thinking about out loud, that we say, I'd like to feel better about this retirement, but I feel like we've done this 3 or 4 times before where we've said, good luck in retirement. So with this one, I think we're just going to keep it at a very professional, we'll see you at the next retirement. Because the statement he put out, which actually was not that far off from Duarte's, if we're being honest. The statement that he put out was, the door's still open, we'll see. So even that was preparing you for right now. He is taking off the crown. He's going to preserve it in his library. And maybe that's not the way the story ends. Maybe it is. It's hard to tell. I just feel like somebody, if they get close to beating his record or becomes an actual threat or somebody who is making an interesting case, there is a high likelihood we will see him back. And part of it is he's retiring because of his health issues, which, by the way, nobody wishes upon anybody else. Those aren't going away, but he was able to compete, to his saying, at 10% of what his true capability is. So who's to say he doesn't do that again?
Yeah.
And right now we live in a world where Mike Tyson is being floated in a real rumor, not just fighting the Paul brothers, which blah, but now against Floyd Mayweather Jr. And you think to yourself, we were done with that. And now I see headlines that I always think are clickbait, and they are, but they might be accurate clickbait. So a Gordon Ryan retirement is with the biggest of asterisks next to it. So congratulations on a current finish to the career. But Tim, I do have a little proposition for you here, okay? So Gordon has been clear that he has had to do some stuff to maintain his competitive advantages over the years. And it always made me wonder, like, what deal did he make? Because this is how he currently looks. And we aren't necessarily a show that mocks how people look, but like, I look at that, I'm like, is that dude healthy? Is he okay? Because he's too young to look like that gout. And I can't tell if they play it up because he's dyed his hair, he's dyed his stuff. He's played around with the image and the way that he looks. But hear me out on this. I don't know if the genie that he made an agreement with promised him grandeur in exchange for perhaps, and this is just a thought, like, is this the agreement he made? Because I don't think it's far off.
I mean, that's where we're headed, right? Like, we're moving in that direction very strongly. That was great. I I don't know what I don't know if he's not taking the anti-aging medicine. I know that. That's definitely not in the stack. That man, the guy's got high stress. He, his body puts his body through a lot. And when he dyed his hair, look, I'm wildly colorblind. It looked white to me. It looked like he had white hair and a white beard. And I had a casual acquaintance that knew I did jujitsu, and he pulled me aside and he said, "You got to tell me about this Gordon guy. He's like 55 years old and he's the best guy ever." And I erupted in laughter. I'm like, he's 27, man. He's not 55. And he showed me the picture. He's like, "Look at him." I'm like, I know he looks 55. He's not 55. I don't know, man. He has like reverse Benjamin Button. Like, he's aging fast. I don't know. Who knows, man?
Let me just say this. If you need a better reference point, Tim was talking about this and he's like, "Hey, my son saw you do a commentating gig with him." That was what, 2018, 2019? I want to say 2019. I don't look that different.
You don't look, to be honest, Raf, you don't look any different than like the day I met you. You have not aged. You're not aging, dude.
I'm just timeless. That's a very different thing.
Bro.
But I'm just saying, if you look at me and him in those things, I will look like a vampire.
Right.
And I don't, hold on. Egg, listen. I'm going to put this one up first. And this is just a good time to remind people there are some allegations that are out there that are near impossible to cover for Gordon. There are some unfortunate statements that have gone back and forth between him and Craig, and it's really tough to figure out how to discuss that one in a, I guess, competent and comprehensive way. But I can tell you a few things. One, when you are responding to a 15-year-old, there are better ways to respond. I think that's pretty clear from that situation. And two, I do feel like sometimes there are just flippant responses that matter a lot to people. And I think they're very interesting ways that you can see that. And there's been a lot of unfortunate statements. But arguing for the lowest common denominators of age of consent, talking to 15-year-olds like that are not great. And I would just say those are the parts that we know for sure have happened. Now, whether they get into any kind of legal problems or any kind of legal troubles like that, we don't know until people come forward. And as of right now, you just read a lot of these statements going like, maybe people should just have their phones taken from them. That's really the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I just think, man, like, one is like, if someone's doing something creepy, and you might be uncomfortable with it and it might suck, but I really think the best thing you could do is bring it to the surface and just like, hey, this is happening, because it's so hard to know. At the same time, look, there's a lot of trash in jiu-jitsu, man, and it sucks because I love jiu-jitsu, you love jiu-jitsu. I don't want there to be trash in jiu-jitsu. This is a thing that I really love, but it's there and it has to be dealt with. And there's also a whole kind of group of people or just whatever, bots, who knows, that they just want to chime in on everything. And it's just, the influence is so strong. It's like, there's some of these situations, man, it's like, I don't know. It could be this or it could be that. And it's like, well, I don't know. I hope this gets resolved, but not on Instagram. It's like, damn, this is not the place to resolve it, but I guess we can't help ourselves. Do you bring that on yourself if you're somebody like Gordon that's always online, always getting entangled with people? Then it's like, eventually somebody's going to come for you.
I mean, those are just the ones that we see in public. I feel there are a lot more unfortunate statements that are out there, and there's a push-pull here. Thank you, Egg, for making it very clear about this. I was wondering what your position might be when you had earlier typed this out. The answer to Gordon Ryan retirement is, who cares? Which people kind of do, so it is newsworthy. Tim, in response to your question, here's what I would say. I feel like it is a natural progression for somebody who is competitive and never likes to lose to extend that into this DM warfare. That is why people feel like they need to crush somebody. They need to show them. It's a form of argumentation. The unfortunate part for Gordon is he is not as talented at online argumentation as he is at jiu-jitsu, but he does believe strongly he's pretty close at both. And what ends up happening is if you're a 15-year-old girl who gets that message, you're like, this is weird. And I don't think she's wrong in that instance. But the real question is, did he do something that was an assault, or was there something that happened? You know, those are very, very difficult things to tell from a conversation like that. And the internet then puts it on trial. A lot of us look at it. It's very difficult to really tell anything from that situation. But you do believe, like, hey, man, if somebody brought this to your attention, you'd like to think you'd be better about it or smarter about it and saying, oh, yeah. That's not at all what I meant. What are you talking about? And you would leave it at that. And it feels like in some of those situations, there's just a deeper dig that then gets weirder and weirder. And it becomes like this own story that you start reading and looking at and going like, this has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu anymore. Jiu-jitsu was just the catalyst where they met each other or they saw each other. And now it's legitimately disgusting. And you're having a real discussion of saying like, well, what about the real victims? And you go, oh my God, I don't even, what? Where did all this come from? I'll tell you, Craig actually posted up a video that went into detail of just the text receipts. And it was a 40-minute video.
Who's got time?
I don't know, but he put at the very beginning, he's like, hey, these are all allegations. This is us being safe about it and saying these things. And if you have a video that's 40 minutes of just text exchanges that seem unfortunate, it sounds like it's a pretty bad case where people are still giving you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's a sign your online interactions are not the best, because they're not even getting into the stuff that's alleged fully with evidence. They're just going into the text change that seem to say these aren't smart things to say out loud. So there you have it. I feel like we'll still end up having news at some point bring out about that.
Yeah.
But let's put this. It says, will not mention any topic out of turn, even though I don't see the most important topic. You know, Egg, there are other things that happen in the world of jiu-jitsu, and we do extensively cover all of jiu-jitsu.
But not the most important topic.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to our next one. Hold on, this motherfucker.
I was trying to play Egg just so he wouldn't have to like do it again, but he did it. He did it.
Let me point this out. If you are going down the same pathway Duarte did, you're conflating two things into one, which is, I can't believe it's taking you this long to get your second bullet point. But while I'm here, I'd like to let you know that I am putting my hat in for ADCC, and there's 57 minutes until the next Egghead Scramble, which, by the way, Brett Moyer is on, and you would already know that kind of stuff about him if you were like somebody who watches my show on Patreon. We already have an interview with him. It's all good. Totally. Do your interview with him. It's going to be great. Anyway, he did say I was the best interviewer in all of jiu-jitsu. Just saying.
In the whole world.
That's all. No big deal. Let's go to our second topic. Second topic is that, hey, it looks like when bad things happen in the sport, we just announced there's going to be a Grand Prix. Like, it feels like the wash-all. It's like, hey, you guys want to have a pizza party with a Grand Prix? Tim, what can you tell us about the just recently announced Grand Prix and who are the participants in it?
So the beloved IBJJF has announced a no-gi absolute Grand Prix for 2026. This is scheduled for February 26th. Look, it's a $50,000 grand prize, which is pretty dope. And there's some big names in this tournament. We got guys like Diego Pato, Michael Pixley, Javier Barter, Victor Hugo, some Pedro Mourinho. Like, there's some big matchups here. I'm just wondering this. You know, the IBJJF has been running no-gi events for a minute, and I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to throw shade on them, but just to me, and when I talk to competitors, I talk to athletes, the IBJJF no-gi scene, they do it, but it's not really considered to be like, man, I want to get that, right? Of course, 50 G's is 50 G's. Everybody wants 50 G's. My question is this enough to like move the needle in the no-gi world? Are people really paying attention to this? How do these guys get invited? Like, do you have to earn points in the opens, or is this just literally like a straight promo that they ran out there? And what's the production going to be like? Because traditionally when you watch an IBJJF event, you know, it's like, all right, but you know, it's going to be on Flow? Is it going to look like a standard IBJJF event? Or are they going to kind of produce this up a bit? But does it move the needle, Raf? Do you think this gets a bunch of eyeballs, or do you think it's the standard IBJJF type of viewer or fan that's going to tune in and pay attention?
Uh-oh. Those are loaded questions. Well, it's an event and it has a lot of money going for it. And I think those are good things. Will I remember it's on? Ugh, I usually don't. And I have to tell you, that's part of the IBJJF's big problem. They make these events to now say, hey, we give money out. Come on. But the tune-in factor for IBJJF is, are you competing in it? And do you have a passing interest in these 8 people? And I don't even know, Tim, and you could tell me if I'm wrong on this, I don't even know that these 8 athletes ever do any real promos for them. I feel like they just put up a story that goes, hey, catch me on this. There's never been a piece of footage that I've seen that documents their story, that gets us involved. It's just like, hey, we're putting this on because you guys kept complaining we don't pay them. So here, we took $50,000 out of our dumb budget that we charge people for, like their member fees or something. Are you happy now? There it is. I want to be excited about this, but I don't feel the IBJJF is in the broadcast business. I feel like they're in a business that provides content for Flow Grappling, but I don't even know how invested they are in this money that they're putting up. And they have really good talent. And maybe it's just too much work to do that, but I'm like begging for something to make me interested and remember, because so many times it's the end of the weekend. I'm looking at my stories and I go, was that this weekend? And I completely forget. And I just feel if you're putting the money out there, what are some things that you could do that would make people more interested to see that product? Because why not? Like, it's a viewable thing. It should make us excited. And I really do feel like outside of those incredibly talented people's academies, I don't know how much we really want to tune in to see it.
Dude, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that the IBJJF, and in turn, like Flow, in a way, they make a decent chunk on people that go to do tournaments and the people that care about those people and they want to watch it, or they want to see their match, or they want to go back and watch their match. And we know, for all the criticisms about the cost or the kind of red tape you got to go through when you compete at an IBJJF tournament, we know they put on a ton of tournaments and they're pretty damn good at it. And they got to be making money because they've been doing it for a long, long time, and it's grown. They have, I would venture to say, they have the largest numbers. I don't think there's a tournament that's as big as the IBJJF. If you consider all of the competitors they get across the board, it's probably by far the largest. They do that well, better than anybody, I would say. But that doesn't mean you can do a great job at putting on a showcase event where it's not so much like you're saying, I'm going to go watch my, 23-year-old cousin who's a blue belt. This is, I want to tune in and watch jujitsu. There's these 8 dudes or 16 guys going to get after it. What's that story? There's absolutely no story. It's just like, hey, we're giving 50K away. It's a Grand Prix. We do that too. Okay, let's go on. That's kind of what it feels like. I just don't know, how big of a needle mover really is it? It might be a quick 50 Gs.
It could be.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I really do feel like it is something that could get people interested. It's the right talent. Now it's just a matter of communicating it. So I wish them the best. It sounds intriguing. My next time talking about it or remembering it might be when we cover it the next week. So we shall see.
Correct.
But Godspeed, go win that stuff. And hey, somebody take home that 50K. That's all I got to say on that. Tim, you put this as a bullet point, and really it does merit some consideration. We were gone for not a long period of time, but there was a lot of stuff that happened. My challenge to you, how much can you recap in 3 minutes time? Your time begins now.
Yeah, so listen, I put recap because there were several things that happened in the jiu-jitsu world over the weekend, and I just kind of wanted to run through them. We had Thug Trials 2, which you gotta love the name Thug Trials. Beautiful name. I don't know if you have to be a felon to be in that, but that'd be kind of cool. Submission Hunter Pro took place. ADCC Trials took place. The European, Middle Eastern, African Trials did. And then ADCC also sent out official invites for 2026. And the curious thing, Rap, I thought they were going to tell them you have to win twice. Even if you're the champ, you got to win the championship twice to get invited, but I guess you don't. Thug Trials, dude. Gabriel Souza defeats Keith Krikorian via decision. Again, Krikorian's out there getting after it. The Thug Trials had some good fights on the card. Wagner Rocha, Big Dan was on the card. Helena Krevar, who's all competing all over. She seems like she is signed to every promotion that exists. Jasmine Rocha. If you get one of the Roaches, you get them all. Oliver Taza, Jacob Couch. They had some big names on it. And curious, at the same time, they were running the Submission Hunter Pro. That had some decent names on it. We saw Papadelos on that card. And then we also had the ADCC Trials, and a couple big names came out of that. One is O'Flanagan won his division, took gold in the Trials, and so did Hasim Rita. So those are 2 guys that we've seen before. They're going to get a berth to the Trials. ADCC also invited all the 8 reigning champions back. So that's like Fornerino, Ana Vieira, Felipe Pena, Giancarlo. All those names are going to be back. Lots of movement, lots of promotions, lots of things going on. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm asking myself, where are these athletes going? Like literally, where are they headed to? Is there somewhere they're trying to get, or are they just chasing whoever will give them some money? Yes, I'll go do that. 20 G's? Okay, I'll go do that. Oh, it's $2,000? Okay, I'll go do that. Is there a destination for these folks? This is what I'm trying to figure out, because when I hear Andrew Tackett talk, or I hear Mikey Musumeci talk, it sounds to me like they found true religion. They're no longer looking. They're like, I got security. I got a contract. This is where I want to be. Is UFC BJJ the spot they're trying to get to? I don't know, but just going through the recap, it's just obvious. There's so many athletes, high caliber, moving through the system, competing all over the place. Like, where are they going? I don't think they're trying to go to Thug Trials 3. Like, no disrespect to Thug Trials, right? But where are they headed?
Tim, you sound like a career counselor in high school. It's like, so what are you doing with your life? Where are you going?
I mean, basically, they kind of need that, right? Like, jiu-jitsu athletes are basically like a bunch of group home kids. Again, no disrespect, but they need guidance. They need help. They need love. They need somebody that's looking out for them.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this much, Tim. I feel like we are seeing the beginnings of people starting to make statements like Andrew Tackett that says, hey, I'm going to go where the real competition is. If there's no real competition, I'll leave the UFC BJJ. If I was a person that worked for the UFC BJJ, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a call after that.
Yeah.
I think that we are in the infancy of people really seeing the effects of media training. And I do feel like right now the UFC is investing in them. And sure, they might be able to see the positive, which is him saying, like, well, clearly I'm not going anywhere and I'm here. That's what I'm saying. I would go if there wasn't such top tier competition right now that is happening currently, and that I'm very pleased with my contract. I feel these are the growing pains that happen, and he's welcome to stay whatever he wants to. It's just the one good thing that comes from all this is there is a little bit more of an open market where people can kind of figure out where their worth is. I don't know how long that stands because there's plenty of people in UFC BJJ that I think are very interesting people for matchmakers to have some fun with, but I don't know how much they're extended to do. And now that we're in an ADCC year, if you're really talking about these competitors, I think a few of them, you might see them get a little burned if they are only with, say, Flow Grappling or UFC BJJ, when they need to get in those reps at a high level for a major ADCC year. And let alone the fact that we're hearing rumors there's going to be another Craig Jones Invitational and that a date will be announced soon. The question is it before or after ADCC? So I don't assume it's going to be September, but is it August like it's traditionally been? Or, as Craig has alleged, they might go after ADCC this time. So does that mean October, November? God, don't make it December. But I think those are real questions that are going to be on the table now that we see incredible talent kind of getting split all over the place.
Yeah. That's a good take.
Just saying. And for the love of God, guys, just rep what you're at. Really, that's all you have to say. Andrew doing the extra mile of like, I mean, it's got to be the best, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And I go, brother, you don't even know who the hell you're fighting half the time.
Right.
Like, I want to give you that argument, but it is very difficult when it's you versus Shadow Man. And you versus Shadow Man doesn't necessarily read well on a fucking poster. You read very well, but you versus unknown entity tells us that there is going to be a large question mark. So all you have to do, even though there's going to be pressure on you, is just tell us why it's great and what you're excited about and who you'd like to see on UFC BJJ. And maybe that will get the people that you want that high tier caliber competition with. And I really do feel like that will go a long way. I think you guys acting as not only cheerleaders, but making those appeals for like, hey, are we talking to those people? Not just behind the scenes, but clearly in front of it, I think will really do wonders for elevating that talent. Because right now, the biggest claim UFC BJJ has, in my opinion, is they have created a very strong women's division and have put on some very, very strong women's matches. So I think they've got some bragging rights on being the best showcase for women's grappling right now, currently.
I think you're right. Polaris is making kind of a push into that market as well. But I think when you're talking about like a big stage, I don't think it's out of line to say that UFC BJJ is a bigger platform than Polaris now.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, Polaris now feels very at home now that they're back on Flow Grappling. So I think they're thinking more people might view their stuff. I think on UFC Fight Pass, they kind of got pushed to not being marketed or half the time not knowing that there's an event there. I feel it might be a little bit better of a fit. And I think they're hoping that this is going to be an upswing for viewership for them. And I'll tell you what, some of their big stars doing well at trials, that bodes well for that company. So I think there's some arguments to be made, but let's move on to our next one. This is an interesting sort of quandary, because the main appeal of pit submissions is that it's supposed to be a little bit on the edge. Like, it's supposed to be something that makes you want to watch it, perhaps a little bit of a slightly controversial angle sometimes, or just something that's a little bit outside the norm. Because if it was the norm, why would you tune in, is seemingly the mentality from them. So imagine our surprise when their latest announced match and execution of that match garnered so much hate that the person who won it challenged his brother because his brother hated the fact that it went down. So Tim, what can you tell us about the very controversial but also very highly covered match that came out of pit submissions?
So yeah, man, 100% on your sentiment about pit submissions. The draw is that you can see something wild. It's why we go to theme parks, because every once in a while somebody dies on a roller coaster and we're like, man, I just want to go cheat death once, I just want to go do it. It's a little bit of that, like, some shit's going to go down. So Zion Clark, famous documentary made in 2018 about him. This is an athlete who wrestled, who was born with a condition where essentially his lower body did not form, did not complete. And he wrestled, said I think he lost every match his first year of wrestling, but he kept wrestling, ended up with like a 33-15 record, which is highly respectable. Wrestling is super hard. This is a dude that literally doesn't have lower limbs to use. Had an MMA fight. We saw that. So he books a fight at Pit Submission Series 3 against, and I might mess up his name, but I believe it's Walker Walker, which sounds to me like Walker, but anyway. And this match, Walker, his specialty is the heel hook, and they're like, well, he can't use that. He takes his back, chokes him out, then gets on the mic at the post-fight interview, and he calls his brother Johnny Walker out and said that he wants to fight him because he disrespected him by not attending the match. Johnny responds that he could not go because he's ashamed of his brother for taking this fight against Zion. And there's part of me that feels like the person that should be celebrated right now is Zion. Like, talk about overcoming obstacles, getting after it, like doing everything that you could possibly do. He goes out there and does it. But the drama and the focus is on the Walker brothers kind of fighting with each other. And I almost wonder, like, other sports, you don't really see this. You don't see someone who's considered like a professional to go up against somebody that has a very obvious situation where they're going to be at a huge disadvantage, right? You don't typically see that. You don't see this in Major League Baseball and football and all those other things, but we see this kind of thing in grappling. Like, this is not that obscure. Like, we do see it from time to time, but it's like, is this crossing the line? Like, is Pitt Sub Series taking advantage of Zion? Or is this just like, no, man, Zion wants to get after it. We're going to give him a platform to do it, and let's see what happens. Because I can kind of see both sides of it. I think it's ridiculous that Walker called his brother out on the mic. I think he should have given all respect to Zion, not mentioned any family beef, and not made it about that at all. Handle that business in private. That shouldn't be public business. That's my personal outlook on that. Why are you going to take the focus off of a cool thing that happened? You could have been couched in such a better way instead of getting on the mic and calling your brother out, right? So that part was absolutely ridiculous.
Can I just say this, though? I feel like the brother call out is more on brand for pit submissions.
Yeah, right.
if it wasn't tied to this situation. Because if you're really thinking about this, and I think you set it up very nicely, what do you say about Zion? Like, this is a real competition for him that's treated as a spectacle. And I don't know how comfortable he is. I can't put words in his mouth. He might be just fine with this because you do see people who have grown with some sort of adversity. They don't give a shit. They literally have a callus to this stuff. And maybe sometimes we're overreacting for their benefit. We don't know that. Having said that, I saw a couple people just speaking up for him and being like, dude, he's a beast. He's an amazing guy. And they're taking it from the series of this is real competition to them. And then juxtaposing that with this dude heel hooks. This dude's got no heel to be hooked. What do? Okay. You get one tune in off of that. Do they come back? And that is an interesting thing to figure out. I'd like to see the dynamics, the ratings, the return rate for people, because I don't know if people see that clip and go, I want to keep watching with this. I want to keep coming back for this one.
What's next? Yeah, but is that the kind of, what do you got to have? You got to have somebody in there with like no limbs, you know? Now he's going to fight a dead guy. It's like, what's the, you know, like how far, where are we going with this?
This dude doesn't have a pulse, or does he? Find out Monday. I'm in the mindset of, I think there's some real stories that have come out of, I think, the Karate Combat that allege they don't pay their people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if those are real rumors. I don't know if they're substantiated well, but they usually come from people who have not been paid well. And that is sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. We don't know. But you get the sense that maybe they feel they do have to rely on those stunts if that is such the case. So I don't know that we're seeing the last of it. Tim, you might be joking, but dude that just got pulled into the ER maybe signed up for a very, very interesting match against Gable Steveson very quickly. So who knows?
Right.
We'll see. Nonetheless, we'll put time on the clock and we'll advance to our next topic, which is that of transitions. It's very funny you put that, because not only is this a transition in itself, but I started thinking, I was like, wait, do we have to, let's hopefully not be talking about trans people here. I don't think this is the show to do that sort of a thing.
No, sir.
Mikey Musumeci is teasing the possibility of going into mixed martial arts. Tim, I know you have thoughts on that, so I'm just going to put the camera on you.
So I want to see it. I want to go into MMA. I do. And I tell you, I might like him as an MMA guy. I might not mind it. The plan that he's alluded to is to go in at 125, which is he's decent size for 125. I just don't know if his jiu-jitsu is slick enough to handle a very well qualified mixed martial artist, because it is a different beast and the game moves at a different pace. The aggression levels are different. I think he could do just fine. I think he could definitely win in MMA. I just don't know if he would be elite level. Having said that, is this the UFC's golden rep right now? And what I mean by that is this their ticket? They're going, hey, we brought it. This will be the first guy we bring through this pipeline. We get him into the UFC BJJ. We promote him. We build him up a bit. We get him some MMA experience. And now he's on the UFC. We have proven out this infrastructure pipeline where we could pull guys from the jiu-jitsu world into UFC. Because I think that's really what UFC BJJ is functioning for. I don't think the UFC thinks they're going to make a bunch of profit off of UFC BJJ. It's just not going to happen. But they might find the next star through that pipeline. And is Mikey that guy? Is Andrew that Andrew that guy? Is Hanato that guy? I don't know. Someone's going to be that guy, though. And I think Mikey's making a play to try to be that guy. He's saying he wants to go to Dagestan and practice MMA and learn. And maybe that's really what he's going to do. And Mikey's been known. Look, Mikey's jumped all over the place. He's trained all over the world with the best people. So it wouldn't surprise me if he did go do that. And it wouldn't surprise me if he got really good at it. When it comes to his skill set, there's nothing to be taken away from him. I just also wouldn't mind seeing him, get punched in the mouth one time in an MMA fight. It might be kind of fun to see. Having said that, I don't dislike Mikey. I don't hate him, but man, pretty big move to transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA. Many a great jiu-jitsu player has gone to MMA to die. So
can I recreate how I think this news went over with the UFC BJJ team, Tim?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Cool. So how about you play Mikey and you're announcing that you're going to make your way into MMA. Okay.
Okay. Let me try to sit like one. Okay.
And go.
So I think the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into MMA. I talked to Dana, and it's like a really important thing. And I really think I could be good, I'm growing. I got my beard growing. A Dagestani now.
Wait, no, hold on. You're doing great for us, kid. Didn't we just do a contract renegotiation with you?
Thanks. Thank you.
No, I mean, no, that's not what, no, hold on. Stay with me, Mikey.
Sorry, am I talking too much? Sorry.
No, let me talk real quick. This is important. Do you know that your contract says UFC BJJ, right?
I mean, contracts say a lot of things, and I mean, I think it would say UFC BJJ on it. It's for UFC BJJ, right? Is it me?
So if you did MMA, that would mean less time in UFC BJJ, and you're kind of our franchise star,
Yeah. I mean, I could do both. I'm still the franchise star. I'm going to be like, imagine being UFC BJJ champion and UFC champion, 2-time champion. That would be like champ.
Yep.
Sure would. Right now.
Sure would. We'd have to create a whole nother division. You know what? You're fine. Let's do that too. Why not? Fuck it. Let's just do it all. You want to do Muay Thai next too?
You want to fight a tiger, kid? How about you fight Volker Walker? We got a big match lined up for you.
I struggled so hard when I saw him at a press conference, just the clips. I didn't watch the full thing. With the UFC BJJ banner behind him and saying like, yeah, I'm definitely exploring the idea of doing some MMA now. And I go, what? No. We just went through this. And you know what? Maybe there's a part of your contract that says you have the ability to go do both if you want to do both. But I think that's a huge risk to the UFC BJJ brand. And maybe they're just at a point now where they're like, hey, man, how much more can we get out of you? And I thought that he went to learn more wrestling so that he could be that Dagestani fighter and he wasn't going to be this dumb butt scooter and yet leg lock. So I'm in a place now where I'm thinking maybe the UFC is realizing this isn't the easiest sell in the world. Maybe they're realizing like, damn, this is a challenge. We're going to figure this out. Okay, cool. Can you do 9 pieces of content with Nina Drama right now? Cool. Great. You're going to do some pasta bits? Love that. Okay. It's not going to get old soon. I don't know, Tim. I'm watching this and I'm thinking if I was the UFC, I'd be asking every day about that contract. So we'll see. But this is an interesting observation. Mikey trying to drop some Spanish was rough. I say this as a person whose Spanish is also pretty no bueno, but I feel like Mikey is within the spirit of just trying to love all people in all languages. So I'm not even going to hate on that. Let him do what he wants to do. I just know that if I saw it live and in person, my face might twitch a little bit. And I think that has to be okay. I think we have to be okay with trying to be polite, but having real reactions like, nah, I'm good. Like if I was there at the weigh-ins and he did the pasta eating, I might be like this, like, oh God, we're doing this? Okay. Yeah, I got it. I cut it. I already put it up. It's fine.
Look, I am like, what's it called when a school gives you a degree but you didn't really go, like an honorary degree? I'm like honorary Mexican. I'm honorary. I am, man, and I was offended on behalf of the Mexican people. I was deeply offended, and I'm like, I'm just honorary, and I'm irritated. I can't imagine how Guillermo feels. Like he's fucking livid.
Well, that's a great way to transition to our next topic, which, by the way, is UFC BJJ 6.
Of course.
So, Tim, what can you tell us about this?
Well, man, look, I give the UFC credit for consistency. They are banging these shows out back to back. UFC 6 going to have 2 championship fights. We're going to see Mason Fowler at light heavyweight defend his title, and we're going to see a match up between Fione Davies and Cassia Mora for the bantamweight title. And I think that's a new belt. There's not a belt holder for that yet. So whoever wins that is gonna snap that title up. And Fione is arguably the biggest name in women's jiu-jitsu. I think that might be fair to say. Like and if she's not, she's way, way, way up there. So it's a big catch for the UFC. Fowler's going to be back going up against Machado. I can't remember his first name for the light heavyweight title. So look, they're doing a lot of shows. It just feels like I can't trace the continuity. Like I can't figure out who's going to be next. It's just like, oh, now he's going to fight this guy for the belt. And now this guy's. It just feels like, these are the guys we got. Let's do this. And maybe that works for now. And
just a thing, real quick, Tim, don't mean to interrupt you, but it does appear, I think your sound just cut out a little bit. So you might want to fix one of those cables.
Oh, great.
I think you're back now, but you did just turn into Max Headroom for a second.
Great. I've been watching that show with my son,
actually. Well, you did live it. So very good note here. Can I just interrupt you real quick? Because I forgot about this part about the Mikey. I love the analysis you're doing on the UFC BJJ, but I just want to point this out. Mikey basically was taking on a challenge from Dylan Dennis, and I don't know how this didn't make our doorstep here. You are a Dylan Dennis expert. From your opinion, is this something that we even need to entertain? Because Dennis is accusing Mikey of cherry picking his opponents. And Mikey responded by saying, why don't we have a match? And I wonder, would the UFC ever sully the name enough to allow Dylan Dennis on UFC BJJ? Because it has the letters UFC in that marketing.
Dennis, as we know, will fight anybody. He is looking for a fight, not because he wants to fight. He doesn't want, like, I don't think he's like a guy got to fight. I was raised on the mean streets and I got to fight. He wants clout. He's looking for clout as a fighter. And we know he's looking for everywhere he goes, he gets into a fight. Oh, almost had to sneeze on air. Apologies. So, he calls out Mikey Musumeci. I'm so sorry, you guys. Holy moly. What a show today. I can't help it, man. Dennis is coming after me now. He's probably sending me texts right now. I'll fight you, Freeman. Dennis is always calling dudes out that are probably never going to have a match with him. Dennis has great jiu-jitsu, but he's not on the caliber of Mikey Musumeci. He's a lot bigger than Mikey Musumeci, but I think Musumeci could beat Dylan Dennis in a jiu-jitsu match, personally. And didn't Dennis sign? Didn't they announce that he was going to go up against Craig Jones, or was that just bit they were doing. Like I thought they talked about that, or I read a blip about that. I would like to see Mikey handle him, but I don't want to see Dennis get the attention, because I feel like the way he's going about it is the wrong way. He's always calling guys out that are at the top. It's like, go work your way up like everybody else is doing, dude. Like, you don't get to sit on the side and just call guys out for big, influencer type matchups. And that's kind of what he's devolved to now, which is kind of sad for Dennis, because Dennis is a respectable athlete who's capable of being really good, but the way he's going about it is so cringe that even if he gets a matchup, like nobody's going to believe in him. And even if he wins, nobody's going to want him to win. So he kind of painted himself into a corner on that one.
I don't know what to do about any of this, because on the one hand, you get the sense that Mikey would beat Dylan Dennis. So that's fun. But on the other side, you'd have to entertain it and see a promotion cycle from Dylan Dennis. So, tough one there.
Yeah.
Then on the other side, we're talking about Craig Jones versus Dylan Dennis, which feels about a little bit more appropriate, because, as you mentioned, Dylan Dennis has good jiu-jitsu, but I don't know if it's Craig Jones level or Mikey Musumeci level. We just don't see him do that as much anymore. And you wonder, is it still there? Okay, we see those points. That's fine. But for whatever reason, if you got Uncle Hanach to sit in between Dylan Dennis and Craig Jones, that content somehow makes more sense than Dylan Dennis and Mikey Musumeci going side by side. Because you really do start to wonder, if that promotion cycle happens, would anybody tune in after that? Because they might talk so much trash to each other that the rest of us would watch it with our eyes and think, why am I going to entertain any part of this? But yet, Craig Jones and Dylan Dennis, you know that Craig will roast him appropriately.
Yeah.
And the expectation would be that Craig would beat the shit out of him, because Craig is essentially retired, quote unquote. So I don't know. This is putting us in a really bad fucking place. And you texted me and you were like, is this thing real with Dennis and Craig? And I said, oh man, I think it is. It looks unfortunate. I can't believe that they're putting that as the main draw. And if that is what's supposed to sell tickets, I am nervous about that. In fact, people will take money from charities if that is probably the actual main event of that event.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've discussed these things enough. It's about time for us to get to the fight of the week. So, Tim, what can you tell us about this week's low light highlight of the week?
This is a fight that takes a very refined review. And what I mean is, on the surface, it's like, okay, that happened. But there's also a lot happening. This is in the genre of fast food fights, and there's only one punch thrown. But the reaction after the punch thrown is really, I think it's my favorite part. I don't think I've ever seen a reaction quite like this. So that's why I voted it. And I'm like, this is going to be the one today.
All right, Tim. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I didn't really take too much of a glance at it, but I will switch us on over to the board, to that segment, and I'm intrigued. There's a raised eyebrow. Let's see what you have in store for us, and the action begins now.
Okay, so I don't know where we're at here. Maybe I think we're at a Little Caesars. Yeah, sweatpants guy standing at the register wants his food now, and Emilio, who's working there, is kind of, couldn't tell if he's ignoring him or what's going on. Camera girl's doing okay, but she finally straightens it out. So, guy gets his fresh baked pizza, and dude comes around the corner, and they kind of get in each other's face. Yeah, and sweatpants guy's saying like, "Don't touch me," and you could see like worker dude is like, "Hey, I don't want to get into it." Now here's where it comes. Boom, boom. Now look at guy's reaction. She's like, "What did you do?" I don't know.
So sorry.
What? Oh no! Oh, what happened? We didn't get the whole thing at the end there.
Tim, wait, what do you mean? This is what I got sent, dude.
Oh no! So there's a little part where he just stands there and he puts his hands up and he goes like this. He goes like, "I don't know why I did that." Basically, she's like, "I don't know. Who cares?" He just walked off.
Hold on. Let me make sure
I've
that
never seen somebody get knocked out like that. By the way, like straight knocked out with a Mike Tyson punch out uppercut.
Yeah, Tim, that is exactly what I got sent. So I'm sorry. I would have had it fully ready, but it's okay. I have a take on this that I think is worth considering. Can I start with this? Just in case it's not clear, this is a segment that Tim produces and that I get sent. And nowhere is it more clear than the fact that it came from an Instagram video, because it has who reshared it still in the video at the bottom. Like, it does. Where it says drop an emoji, I'm sitting here going, I can't. Oh, right. This is a screenshot video. Okay. So we have a couple notes here. The first is hot and ready means hot and ready, which, yes. And it says like a Pez dispenser. And we'll come back to that in a second here. First of all, Tim has the audacity to see paintings like this, true art, and then question, I don't know, maybe we're at a Little Caesars? Good sir, the minute you see an orange colored box, your brain should 100% know. It just tells me you have not been cultured and raised properly, because there is a Little Caesars box. Any one of us who have been poor knows that shit's $5.99. I'm getting that right now because it's hot and it's ready. So let's get into this story. First off, why does somebody know to film this? That's the part I don't get, because there's not a confrontation that's happening yet. So is this the friend of the person in the sweatpants who's like, hey, watch this. I'm about to show Javier behind this cash register what's up. Okay. So he takes this posture, and again, nefarious things are happening here because look at these angles. Or maybe you just realize he's just a customer that's being kind of a dick. But the dude behind the register is doing his job. Look at this man handing off the hot and readies so that somebody can enjoy their evening. Now, I don't want to place blame here, but what is this dude wearing? I know it has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, but what in the world is this?
Yeah, I don't. That sweater has staff.
These items on the sweater look like they're a collection of all the things in Super Mario Brothers 3. Nonetheless, we press on. As we advance it just a few seconds later, this dude steps behind the invisible line. You never step behind there. That, to me, is a declaration of war. The minute you go past that counter, I am allowed to throw hands, and yet the gentleman there does not. And in fact, I want to point this out. He even looks at him like, hey, bro, I gotta split some stuff right now. Can you get out of my way? And
I got 2 more hot and readies.
Why is the first thing this dude is going to try and do is choke slam him? And does it just like choke slam him comedically comes at him like a cartoon character? Or like, you know, when Bart and Lisa used to choke each other, or Homer used to choke Bart in The Simpsons? That's how he thinks he's going to choke this man. And the dude basically shrugs it off. And Thea in the background, not amused, and walks away, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you caught that part, but Thea looks at it and goes, no, I gotta go. My shift is almost over.
Dios mío. Yeah.
So now he's even using the hands, which are the universal sign of, bro, chillax. Or, as the internet likes to say, daddy, chill. Daddy, chill. And yet, daddy does not chill here. And in fact, tries to put hands on him one more time, and he's expanded all the options with the best uppercut we have seen in this industry thus far in. Like, there has not been a better uppercut at a Little Caesars ever. I am willing to put that on blast. 3, 2, bam! And look at the face he makes after. It's like, damn, I landed that shit. Like, yes. Oh, take that, bro.
And look, fentanyl on his fist, because the guy literally looked like he was on fentanyl. Immediately, he just.
But look, here's a scene that's like the Little Caesars version of the Wizard of Oz. He got knocked out of his fucking sandals. Like, this is comically brilliant in the fact that there's just 2 feet hanging out. The sandals got knocked off the feet. And then this dude realizes, like, well, what are we going to do about it? I got to clean him up now. And the person who's filming it just knows to stand at ease and record.
Oh, man.
Tim, that was a good one. I appreciate you for that, sir. So, great work this week. And it says, hold on. It says, because World Star, thank you for that. And it says, it looks like some Grateful Dead merch. We got a deadhead here. Look at that. I think, that's CJ. Oh, the producer of the Egg Scramble. CJ, God bless. If that is you, I don't know if it is. And it says, the hip rotation was impeccable. I do have to commend you on that one. And it says, cue Windows reboot sound. Yep, absolutely. Some stellar comments there.
I love how dude stood there and he just had his hands down. It's almost like he's like, damn, I didn't know I could hit that hard. Like, he knocked that guy out before he leaned. You know, he's lucky he fell the way he fell. Because if he would have fallen straight back, he would have cracked his head. He like leaned, dropped to the knee, and then basically he got called home to Jesus. That was a come to Jesus. Like, he went straight to the knees, face down.
It's magical, Tim. You picked a real good one there, and I'm very proud of you. Well, Tim, why don't we do this? We should tell the people where they can find you, sir. So where can the people find you?
Find me at Inside BJJ on your favorite social media. If you're in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in Stockton, go see my homies at 10th Planet Stockton. RAF, it's fantastic to be here today, man. I hope to see you soon. We got the PGF right around the corner. I'm pumped up for it. Always great, my brother.
Appreciate that. And Tim, it was another great installment. I'm glad that we were able to give people their regular fix. We had some people who missed us. That's nice to be missed. And hopefully the studio will feel a little bit more like home in the coming days. But until then, I will close this bitch up and we will see you guys back here next week. But in the meantime, allow me to tell you guys some things. First and foremost, if you like the show, like, comment, subscribe wherever you are watching this. So if you're watching this on one of our Patreons, like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on our YouTubes, why haven't you subscribed to us yet if you haven't? Just, like, legitimately put that in the comment section. I would love to hear one reason why you haven't subscribed to us. That's it. Tell me why. Legitimately. And while I'm yapping, I will respond to it if I see it. But those are the major things. You can also find me on patreon.com/grappling hour. See my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, see some extra bonus content not available anywhere else. You can also check out a lot of other stuff that we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow night, your boy RAF ESPARZA will be doing some work with the Regime Fighting League. That is out in Woodland Hills. And you will see me interviewing a handful of the guys who are winning and maybe some who didn't. I don't know. I don't know how it goes. We'll have to see how the fights go, but I'm very excited to be part of that organization and working with them. They do a lot of really, really fun stuff. This is their 5th event? I think so. 4th or 5th, somewhere in there. And I've really enjoyed working with them. So I'll be out there. And even if I don't get the chance to say hi to you or do any of that stuff, just wave me down. I'm sure I'll be able to take some time to say what's up to our friends. You can definitely catch me again. That is tomorrow night at RFL. Very excited. Some great fights and some former friends of the show will be fighting on there. So we've got guests like Bailey Jordan, Bailey Seas, if you would. You've also got Mike Perez Jr., who's fighting on that card. Both of those gents, very, very friendly, great interviews, really fun stuff. And we have a whole section on our Patreon just for our RFL interviews. Same with Sparstar, same with PGF. So we make it very easy for you to find. So we got that coming up and lots more. In case you were wondering, yes, the PGF is going to be a major part of the show. We have some big episodes in the near future. We will, of course, be the pre and post show all season long, so you'll want to stay tuned the entire time. You don't want to just show up at 4 p.m. Best Coast time every day at the PGF. You want to be here for the pre-show, and some of those pre-shows may be filmed in advance, so you want to be basically subscribed and with notifications so that you don't miss out on any of those shows. And your boy will also be there live in Las Vegas doing the post shows with them. So that's it. I'm going to stop right now. I still have to unpack stuff. Clearly, there's like a thing or two missing behind me, but I'm going to take care of that. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Ladies and gents, we want to say thank you so much for watching along with us today. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.